Okay, so the basket is moving from side to side quite nicely, and the apple is dropping into the basket and it disappears. And we presume that we've got some points for that, but we can't see them. So we need to add something to the screen which will display to the end user what's going on. So we're back on main. Great, and down here we've got UI, which stands for user interface. And inside the UI section there's a text box, text. So I'm going to add that in. Now if we double click on this text box, there it is. Where is it? Well, it's inside this thing called a canvas which has been created, and if I double click on that you can see there's the canvas. But where's our screen? Well, it's actually right down here in the bottom corner. There it is. So you'll notice that the canvas is absolutely huge compared to the screen. This might be a bit of a worry, but you have to consider the units. The screen itself is measured in units of the of Unity itself, so Unity units, whatever they are, whereas the screen, the interface, the canvas, is measured in pixels, and we've got 800 pixels across the 600 down, but we've only got about 12 Unity units across the screen. However, it all rescales and everything works out in the end. Okay, so let's see where the text box is in our... Put it in the middle. That's where you'd normally expect it. I'm not sure why it's not there, and I think you can just about see it here. Right, I want to put this score up here in the top left corner, and I'm going to use this to do that. So this is the pivot, this sort of windmill idea here. If I click on this box here, I want to put it up there in the top left corner, and it tells me if I hold the shift key and the alt key and click, then the pivot goes up to the top left corner and my text goes up there as well. Now I don't want it to be so jammed into the corner as that, so I'm just going to move it out a little bit and down a little bit. Okay, that's about right. So there's my text box. Just zoom into it. Now the shape is a bit odd. I'm just going to reshape it using this scale tool, and I'm going to put in there the text, which is going to be score, and we're going to start with the score being 0, of course. Now the text is a little bit on the small side, so here we've got the font size, so we'll make it a bit bigger. Just see it there. It's not too jolly a colour, so here's my colour. I'll just make this nice bright red. Cheer up. Okay. I'm just going to move it up a little bit more. Just so it clears the trees. There we go. Right, you can actually use different fonts, but it's quite difficult finding your fonts that are in the windows, but it does give you the opportunity to download some very interesting fonts from the internet. And there are lots of fonts you get free, and just download them, save them into a folder you call fonts, and then choose the font, move it in here, and it will use that font. However, we're just going to use the good old Arial here. Now I'm going to make this a bit wider because we might get into the hundreds, so I'm going to leave space for that to increase. I'm just going to rename that text box. Click on it and call it score box. Okay, you can call it anything you like, of course. Now what we need to do is to make this script that we added to the basket talk to this score box to show the score. So if I go back to basket. We've got the catch apple script, which I'm going to edit again. Right. Now, if we're going to use this user interface, we have to add a new library to this namespace area. And this is because the user interface is relatively new in Unity. So using Unity engine, that's the one, and then dot, and it's got a UI component in there. Right, so that makes everything available. Right, and we're going to have a new public variable here, and this is going to be a text box. Okay, so text. I'm going to call it score box there. And what we're going to do is add another little bit onto this on trigger enter 2D, where we increase the score. Simply score box, it is dot text equals, and then this is a string, it's expecting a string, so all strings are enclosed in double quotes. So score, and then close that, and we're going to add on our score. Now Unity will interpret this and change it into a string and add it onto here. Oh, sorry, I'll put in a colon there as well. Okay, and the space, don't forget the space, otherwise it's going to look all jammed up. Right, so I'll just check that and save it, of course. Everything's fine. Let's see if it works. Into the basket. Oh, it didn't work because I did the same things before. I didn't identify this score box. Right, so I've got my basket selected. There's the score box, and I'm going just to take a reference from here and add it there. Okay, it did give me a warning for that, but I didn't see it. Let's try again. There goes the apple, and I get a score of 10. Marvellous. Okay, let's save that. Right, so it's getting to be a bit more like a game, but not a very exciting game because it's catching one apple. What we need to do is be able to have lots of apples dropping down here, there and everywhere, and that's going to be in the next session.